So I hate to say this, but the hype beasts might be right. And let me start off by saying that from a business perspective, this has always been something that seems a little bit like snake oily or whatever. And I understand people's apprehension to hearing things like this or seeing things like this and taking seriously into consideration how much weight it might actually carry. But I was recently watching a video of it was like this 21-year-old millionaire, and there was a panel of like 10 average people, and they were all quote confronting this 21-year-old millionaire um, about various different topics. And the guy, I think he's like relatively popular on social media. I think his handle is Brez Scales, and there were some comments, just to be like transparent, about like how people were speculating on how the panel was made up of paid actors and actresses and how their opinions weren't actually legit. I don't know how much weight that carries. Seemed fine to me. But it was basically this kid runs a multi-million dollar marketing firm, and he's in his, low 20s, and obviously, is financially successful in that way. And all the people that were, I guess, like on the panel were from varying backgrounds. And so they brought their own lived experience and perspective into this conversation about various like financial goals and like, what checks out, what doesn't check out. And it was just funny. Like, so I guess all of those people commonly fall under the category of not being millionaires, I'll say. And I'll leave it there. But like, they all came out guns a blazing initially, calling this kid a scammer. And their reasoning for him being a scammer is because like the second way that he makes money is by offering a course. So it's like a virtual course teaching people how to do what his marketing agency does that caused him to become wealthy. And so his core argument was something along the lines of, it's not scamming because people pay for an education via college, via certifications, etc. And the best way to learn how to make money is the best way to learn how to make money is by going directly to the people who have done it that way. And that I guess kind of checks out. And I've heard other people like, Alex Hormozy has talked pretty openly about how one of the biggest line items on his like expense was education. And he paid a lot of people a lot of money to learn how to do things to make money because he didn't come from like an entrepreneurial background. I think the same is probably true for most of us, right? And so it was just fascinating hearing all these people. And once they kind of got through the scammer thing and he broke down like, hey, this is exactly what my business does. This is why I believe it's not a scam. And here are some receipts for people who like, I guess, quote, students of his who have made, multi six figures per month, multi five figures per month, just doing the things that he taught them via the course that he sells. So that's fine. I mean, you're probably not going to catch me signing up for a marketing course or something like that. But I see people's appeal to it because, to be frank, like with Gem Inspector, I am currently figuring out ads. And one of the things that I'm looking into are meta ads. And it is a little bit like not intuitive. You know what I mean? And so I understand people's knee-jerk desire to go out and hire a marketing agency or a marketing firm to facilitate and interface with all that stuff on their behalf. Like, I totally understand where that's coming from. But if I was just some dude working in a mechanic shop and I didn't have any idea on like how building a business works and the importance of customer acquisition, it might seem a little bit fishy. So I can see both sides of the coin here. And like for most of us, like if we're just running an eBay store, a TCG player store, or selling cards via consignment, marketing is irrelevant. Like it's not something like eBay does the customer acquisition for the vast majority of us. Same is true for a TCG player. But again, if you're actually starting like a service-based business that stands alone, like you have your own domain and stuff like that, well, marketing is absolutely undeniably important because that is how you get customers clicking into your site and interacting with the product or service that you provide. And so anyways, I guess all that is to say, it's like from then on, it just became a matter of you have more money than us, so you must have done something unethical. And so it's like, even though they couldn't pin him down for scamming because he was like articulate enough to like talk his way through like the utility behind his business, they still couldn't just like come to terms with the fact that this kid, even though he's younger, did things that they hadn't done. And maybe he had some inherent benefits, like, a 19-year-old or an 18-year-old likely has more free time on their hands than like a 30-year-old with kids, to be frank. But that's not like a fault. That's not a flaw. That's a function, right? If he is 19, I think he was 19 when he started that business. That's why I brought up that age. If he was 19 starting up a marketing firm, what were those other people doing when they were 19? Like, why does that constitute them being able to poo poo him just because he used his time more wisely and he acted with more discipline while they were out there, like, quote, learning from their mistakes and, like gaining experiences in life? It's like, I don't know. It seems to me like that kid just kind of worked harder, right? But all of those people were looking and they were scratching and clawing, looking for some excuse, some way that they could dismiss the achievements that this dude did. And I think that that's a more common occurrence than what we give credit to. And I would even say that in the Pokemon space. It's like, I don't know. It's like anytime someone has a competitive advantage, or I don't know, it's so obvious when it comes to like scalping and stuff, but I do see like the ethical dilemma with that. But it's like if someone has a pallet of 151 and then suddenly 151 explodes in price, everyone's going to be like, oh, well, of course they're profiteering from the hobby. They're just hoarding sealed product and blah, blah, blah. It's like everyone saw this coming. Well, if everyone saw it coming, then why didn't everyone do it? That's the difference. Like, I'm sure that most people agree that if you run a successful marketing agency, you could become a millionaire. But how many people are out there doing that? Like, how many people are out there gaining the skills necessary? How many people are acting with consistency and discipline, thoughtful action, and problem solving their way through their bottlenecks and actually doing that job? And it's very few. It's the same reason why people get so upset when like they see somebody else winning. Like, oh, I've had comments on this channel before too. When I first started like doing daily uploads and stuff, and I was like basically giving people the roadmap to do exactly what I do. Like, it wasn't a course. I just made 3 YouTube videos about it because it's not rocket science. And I had people in the comments like, oh yeah, well, tell me what your net is. It's got to be your net or you probably made nothing. Like, really, you think that I touched $100,000 and I made nothing? You think growing a business from $26,000 2 years ago to $103,000 this year, you don't think that there's positive gains? Like, scratch your brain cells together for a second, right? And it's like, I want to start off by saying that I think the vocal takes on that are probably like just a loud minority. But I think a lot of people spend a lot of time coming up with excuses to disqualify themselves from being in that category, like to be in the consideration, or to be a person who's in consideration for achievement. And I just think that's so weird. Like, why would you want to come up with some excuse or some reason? And again, like bringing up Alex Hormozy here, I'm bringing up all the hype beasts, right? But it's like Alex Hormozy talks often about what's an excuse. It is asking permission to be mediocre. Oh, well, I didn't get this done because I had some excuse. And you just want someone to say, you're right. Yep, you had an excuse. You didn't accomplish anything because you had an excuse. But at the end of the day, it's like you're still a dude who didn't accomplish something in that situation. And why would you want to be that? And I don't know. It's just maybe I'm just thinking a little bit too deeply on this matter or whatever. But guys don't do that stuff, right? Like, I mean, I'm sitting here kicking myself in the butt. I've talked about this on the last couple videos, but like, I thought it was kind of cool that I did 6 figures in sales on eBay, only working like 5 to 7 hours a week. But now I'm sitting here in like the 2026 boom of all booms, and I'm like, dude, why weren't you working 4 times harder? You could have made so much more. I could have been benefiting. I could be benefiting currently so much more if I had just worked harder in 2025. And I worked really hard in the summer, like when I didn't have to go to my full-time job and stuff, but like I was only doing like 5 listings a day, like 2 to 5 listings a day on my eBay store when I was like actually going to work and stuff. And I mean, I'm doing like 10 to 15 a day right now. And why not ramp it up again? And it is what it is. It's like You can't be upset that you're not a person who's winning if you never actually play the game. And, it's like, to bring a sports analogy, because it wouldn't be a Pikachu video without that. So I'm not even a big sports fan, to be honest with you. But, like, if you're never stepping up to the plate, you're never going to get a chance to hit a home run. And if you step up to plate and you strike out at your first at bat, and then you never go to bat again, like, of course you're going to suck at that because you never did it. You never practiced it. And so it's like, what? Oh, well, I got embarrassed one time because I struck out. You're right. So you might as well just never do it again. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't check out. That's kind of a weird way to be thinking. It's kind of lame, isn't it? I don't know. Hope this one entertained you, if nothing else. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.